New raids, new class spells and augmentations allowing for never before seen combinations like mage healers and warlock tanks, a focus on secret content and exploration to keep a well-loved game feeling both familiar and fresh simultaneously, the promise to explore the unfinished content we've speculated about for years with endless possibilities on the horizon. This is WoW Classic Season of Discovery. And the more I obsessively watch and rewatch the Blizzcon 2023 presentation for it, the more I lead towards one clear conclusion. This is what we never expected, but what so many of us wanted. This is the beginning, the foundation of Classic Plus. My name is Vulgrin. I've had about 5 hours of sleep and I'm struggling to believe that all of this is real, but it is real, it's happening. So my friends, let's talk Season of Discovery. Please remember as you watch this video that this info is all very fresh and I'm still collecting my thoughts. I'm actually on holiday and I have none of my proper setup, so if I sound hasty or the audio is a little bit scuffed, it's because I didn't expect this and I'm still recovering from having my mind just a little bit blown. Also, it goes without saying that if you haven't already watched the stream of the Classic presentation at Blizzcon, you should go and watch it for yourself. It's on YouTube. They provided a ton of info for this new season, and it really is worth checking out so that you're up to speed for yourself. But with that said, what a bombshell, right? On reflection, it's probably not too surprising that Blizzard decided to create another season for Classic, given the recent return of many players and the success of the hardcore servers. But even if you were expecting a new season, I doubt many people truly believed that what we would have is an announcement of new additional content and class modifications for vanilla era Classic WoW. When the initial reveal took place and they began by talking about how much fun they'd had watching us play Vanilla Classic over the last 4 years, I couldn't really believe what I was hearing. They then talked about a seasonal twist, and I think a lot of us felt a twinge of disappointment that it was just another season for Classic, but honestly on reflection, I think that seasons are just how Blizzard talk these days when it comes to content delivery, and I think they just wanted to use a title that linked to Season of Mastery to show continuity. So I wouldn't buy too much into the season title and paint this with the same brush as Season of Mastery. It's different. The feeling I personally got from this initial reveal, and correct me if you guys disagree, is that Blizzard wanted to show a cautious, optimistic approach. It was abundantly clear from the main stage presentation that came afterwards that they have basically got this thing wrapped up. I mean, it's coming in less than a month. But I think they really wanted to start off fairly small and build momentum with this project, which is an interesting approach that I think will work out well in the long run. I won't go off on a tangent, but we all know that getting players to agree on what they want for Classic Plus is almost impossible, so beginning small and building up makes sense to me. It's actually not far off what I said in my Designing Classic Plus video, that Blizzard would make fresh servers and allow the hype to build and build as they worked on bigger stuff for the endgame. But where things are different here from what I speculated on is that we don't have to wait for level 60 to enjoy the brand new content coming to Classic with the Season of Discovery. And what exactly is it that they're doing? What is this content, and why does it make me say that we are about to embark on the first steps of what could be called Classic Plus? Well, to begin with, they're focusing on alterations and unique twists on the systems of Vanilla WoW, and the way that the game is delivered to players. The initial level cap for this season, for example, will be level 25 instead of level 60, which is obviously the normal level cap for Classic WoW. Now let me just say that this on its own, regardless of the other features coming with the season, is a great move. I remember watching Asmon and the boys playing through the Classic beta back in the day, and the level caps placed on the game at that time really encouraged players to make the most of the available content, attempting to max out their characters in interesting novel ways, as well as encouraging exploration and the search for secrets. Capping the game like this encourages players to make their own content in a way, and it avoids that rush to 60 mentality which we saw with the initial Classic launch back in 2019, and which I personally think spoils the leveling experience, which is of course one of the big highlights of Vanilla WoW. The fact that the presenters were very clear that they took inspiration from observing the Classic beta and the interesting stuff that players got up to when deciding on this level 25 cap is a great sign. It shows that they are paying attention to what the players want and what the players have done. It's a good start. But let's now move on to the real changes and the additions which are coming with Season of Discovery. Like I said earlier, their focus is obviously on shaking up the game, with new, interesting systems being the priority before they launch into creating new content to explore. And the biggest of these new twists is what one could call class augmentations. Let me explain. What we've been told thus far is that as we explore Azeroth, we will gain access to class augmenting abilities which will mix up the tried and tested gameplay of the vanilla classes. This is going to allow for completely unheard of class variations, such as a Warlock tank or a Mage healer. And that's not just me talking, those were the specific two examples given on stage. It's important to stress that this doesn't just appear to be an idea that's been thrown out there with little substance or forethought to back it up. Blizzard presented some of the new abilities that classes would be receiving as part of this feature, tooltips and all, and given that this is initially releasing in less than a month, it's clear that they've been working on it for quite some time, and it's essentially an almost finished feature. Now, some of these abilities are from later in World of Warcraft, and they've been tweaked and retroactively introduced to vanilla. I'm talking explosive shot for hunters and metamorphosis for warlocks, hell yeah. Interestingly, there are actually also completely new and original spells coming to the game, like Way of Earth, for example, which is a threat-generating passive which will make Shaman tanks finally a real possibility in vanilla WoW. Man, I am pumped for this. Now, the way this system is going to be implemented is through what they call rune engraving. It looks like as you go out questing in the world, as you normally would do whilst leveling in vanilla, you'll come across these scattered rune locations, and as you collect them, you'll gain the ability to essentially enchant certain pieces of gear like your hands or leggings, granting you the effects of that rune. For example, the Way of Earth rune I just mentioned is applied to the leggings slot. This obviously places a cap on how many new augmentations you can have on one character, which will prevent things from becoming too crazy initially, maybe. But more importantly, the fact that you can customize what new skills you choose to equip on your character means that this is adding a level of never before seen control over how your character plays. No longer will you simply be tied to your 3 specs or your group role. Oh, and they even teased the addition of dual spec for vanilla later down the line. Just awesome. I'm really excited to see where they go with this as the system develops and feedback is provided, and I'm already thinking about what wacky combinations I'm going to make when these servers go live. But with all that being said, despite how interesting the class augmentation system appears to be from a first inspection, it's actually not what I'm most excited for when it comes to the Season of Discovery. You see, Blizzard also announced a level 25 10-man raid set within Black Fathom Deeps and featuring new and reimagined bosses as well as new rewards, and to me this new raid is the most interesting reveal, and here's why. It represents the thing that I have been wanting Blizzard to attempt for years now. New, original content for Classic era WoW. I have no idea how good or bad this particular raid will be on its own, or how much they're going to add or alter to BFD in order to make the new 10-man instance work. They were clear, however, that their intention is to make this raid feel new and original, rather than simply reworking the pre-existing 5-man dungeon, so I hope it'll live up to my expectations. But what's important is that this could open the door to so much more. New zones, more new and expanded instances, and they've even made it clear on the stage today that they are looking at completing unfinished endgame content at level 60 and exploring new areas that players have never even seen before. They even made a point of stating that this is just the first of these level up raids, so what could be next? Well, they teased screenshots of the Scarlet Monastery and what was clearly the interior of Karazhan, maybe even the crypts. Whatever's coming next, it's clear that they have a lot of new content in store, and this BFD raid is only the beginning. It's obvious to me that the devs want to promote a sense of discovery. I mean, the clue's in the name, right? I think they want to harken back to those days of early vanilla, when players truly believed that they could find Darien Morgraine in Outland, or fish up the Ashbringer in the Eastern Plaguelands. They want us to speculate, and to imagine the possibilities which could be explored in a game which has been solved for nearly 2 decades now. It's a wonderful premise, taking something as well loved and experienced as vanilla WoW and adding just enough in the way of twists and turns to keep players guessing. I really do hope they pull it off. And it wasn't just new PvE content that was announced either. With the level cap being locked at 25 initially, players will find that the endgame zones of Season of Discovery will at first be places like Ashenvale, and with so many Horde and Alliance players running around the zone, we are bound to see a lot of that most excellent of Vanilla WoW features, World PvP. In my last video, in which I discussed my ideal Classic Plus and what it would look like, I talked a little bit about the importance of World PvP to Vanilla and how much I'd love for Blizzard to build on the system a bit more to encourage it further, and it looks like we will be getting this with Season of Discovery. Killing enemy players in Ashenvale will start a zone-wide PvP event, spawning in a leader NPC for either faction, a Farseer for the Horde, and a Moon Priestess for the Alliance. The goal at that point is simple: kill the enemy faction leader. Given how many players will be in Ashenvale already at level 25, especially with the 10-man raid taking place in the zone at the Zoram Strand, there will be a lot of World PvP taking place, so it should be interesting seeing where this goes. What I like the most about this is that the devs are weaving PvE and PvP content, instanced and outdoor content, all of it together to encourage player interactions and memorable encounters. This is what I always wanted for Classic Plus, and I really do hope that they pull it off. So there we have it. New class augmentations, new raids, new PvP events, and all of this, my friends, is coming on November the 30th, less than 1 month away, with no PTR as well, so it won't spoil the surprises that await us all. Now, I can't wrap up this video without asking that big question that I think is on all of our minds. Is Season of Discovery really Classic Plus? Well, from my reaction and what you've just heard, I think I've probably already given the game away a bit as to my own view. But simply put, for me, the answer is yes. Or at least it will be, given time. The devs here have been careful to start with a core of new features and content that they can build on and develop over the months and hopefully years to come. This is a seed that they're planting. It's the foundation of what I think will ultimately become true Classic Plus, finishing the incomplete content of original World of Warcraft and adding in new features for all levels of the game which we've never seen before. What a rollercoaster ride we have ahead of us, man. You know, going into Blizzcon this year, I really was worried. I had a video prepared where I was going to talk about WoW and how it's at a clear crossroads, and that this is the most important BlizzCon in years because the announcement for both Classic and Retail will define World of Warcraft for the next decade. Ultimately, I didn't have time to get that video out, but I think I was right. I was concerned that Blizzard would lack the conviction necessary to attempt something like Classic Plus, and I worried that my own interest in the game would diminish if all we could expect was the same old retail content and also Classic Cataclysm. In the end, my expectations were subverted, my hopes possibly even exceeded. We are seeing the beginnings of something big here, guys, with a lot of potential, and for the first time in years, I can genuinely say that I am optimistic for the future of the Classic project. Now, I cannot wait to explore this all further with you, and I will be furiously working on more and more videos whenever I get a free moment, believe me. A Season of Discovery playthrough is absolutely going to happen on my channel, and I have never been more excited to see what the future holds for the channel. But for now, let's sit back, digest what we've been handed here, and get ready for the next steps on the road of Classic WoW. I've been Vulgrin. My friends, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!